What's up, Janelle?
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. What's up with you?
Oh, we have sunshine, so I am stoked.
Oh, that sounds amazing. We do not. It's another gray Nashville day today. What's up?
The first one in a long time. You want me to go ahead and just read what I have?
Yes, one dive in. Or cannonball if it's that kind of call.
We'll see. Over the years, I've been told by friends and colleagues that when we first met and for the first part of our relationship, that they thought that I disliked them. And I've received feedback from mentors and others that I've worked with that I appear unapproachable a lot of the time. I have done a lot of work to kind of figure out what this came from, and I realized that it was insecurity when I was a teenager and so forth. But now it's habituated. And even though I'm aware of it, I have really struggled to break the habit of just withdrawing into myself or having a really closed off demeanor. And I don't know how to break the habit.
Oh, I love this.
What I've habituated.
You're so cool. That's so cool. So what happened when you were younger?
I was in a lot of environments that were highly competitive. And so there was a lot of the kind of thought process. You can't be too much of something or not enough of another. And so I think that my way of sort of making a self-fulfilling prophecy was to just make sure nobody could get to me.
Yeah.
And so if I was the one in control of that, then that was a lot safer than just being at risk.
And congratulations, you got what you wanted.
Exactly. And here I am.
That's the worst, man. Well, good on you for figuring that out. So give me a couple of examples of ways that of things you want to change. Let's be very solutions focused. Like what are a couple of things that you're like, that you want to be different?
So, for example, I realized that I had gone about a year without really meeting anybody new at my workplace, and I work with in a company that has like a few thousand people in our area, and so there's no reason why I shouldn't be meeting new people.
Hold on. Says who?
Well, my position in my job is to be making connections and to be providing solutions to people.
Is that the right job for you?
It is. I love it. It's just once I get over that part.
You just hate the connection part?
The connection part. Yeah, it's hard. I have to kind of psych myself into being like, okay, you can be open in this part.
Okay, so
but once I'm there, I love it.
Off the call, I want you to be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the right job for me? Here's what I mean. At my last job, I knew budgets. I've done millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of budgets. I don't love it. It's part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I found the higher I went in certain institutions, they were very budget heavy. At my last university, they let me hire a budget person. And so I was ultimately responsible, but I had somebody who loved budgets. If you're in a job that everyone's telling you, you should be, and your body is saying, I don't love that. I want you to be honest about that. Even if it pays well, even if it's got a lot of prestige, even if there's not a lot of jobs in Idaho that are as cool as this one. If it's killing you, it's killing you.
Right.
Fair?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think once I get past that,
that's
initial point.
Yeah, that's the thing. You might not get past it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I had to hire a senior accounting student to sneak into my office on Wednesdays and teach me how to use Excel. Because I turned in a residence hall performa on a Word document. Promise you I had Comic Sans in it. And I handed it to the president, and he looked at it and said, "What is this?" And I remember wanting to crawl under the table. Because it was I basically wrote it in crayon and handed it to him, right? And so I didn't know what to do. And so one guy's like, "Dude, do you have this in an Excel sheet somewhere?" And I was like, "What is Excel?" Right? And so I had to hire a kid. So that I ended up loving the process, but that just wasn't my thing. I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Once I got into it and it all worked out, it was fine. But the lead up to it, the worry about all that to say. All right, so let's pretend everyone telling you that you should be doing a thing, they're right, and you're the one that's wrong.
Okay.
Which I don't think they are. But okay, so let's pretend. So you aren't super outgoing. You don't just set up a meeting like once a week. I'm going to do coffee with rando number 5. Instead of mambo number 5, rando number 5, I'm going to set up a coffee meeting and we're going to go just meet for 30 minutes down in the lobby.
I do.
Okay.
And so it's the once I get to know them part. And it's like I will have really positive impressions of people and feelings about people, but that's not the impression that they get that I have about them. I had somebody that I've known for years who the other day she was introducing me to one of her friends, and she said something to the effect of, I thought she didn't like me, or she didn't like me for the first 2 months that I knew her. And I was completely taken aback because that's not how I felt at all. But it's not, I don't extend the warmth and positive feelings that I have about people and in my demeanor. And so even if I'm, in my perception, having something positive with a colleague or somebody that I'm trying to work with, that doesn't come across. And that's the part that I don't quite know how to.
Is it physical, like you cross your arms, you furrow your brow?
I think so.
Or do you talk too much, or do you not respond? Do people say like cool things and you just go,
Some of that, it feels similar to when I dissociate. So I just feel myself kind of disconnecting from the present. And then I just get really like in my head, even if it's not negative about the interaction or the situation, I just withdraw. And then it's all in my head, and then I'm not like physically engaged in the conversation.
Yeah,
with eye contact.
People can tell when someone's left the meeting.
Yeah,
I actually, whenever I'm going to do a new talk to a large group of people, I'll do a table read. I'll get a group of people around a table and I'll read it, and I just watch, and you can feel them when they check out. Like, this section's too nerdy because they just left me. Totally get that. Okay, here's one of these things. No, two of these things may be the most cheesy thing I've ever said on this podcast.
Okay.
And I do them regularly. I hesitate to say them out loud, and hopefully the social media person who clips parts of this show and puts it on social media will not put this clip out because it will just sound weird. But these are two things that I do on a regular basis that I did learn from a counselor.
Okay.
And the third thing is something that I haven't had to do, but I think it would be worth trying. Okay?
Sure.
And I'll give you a fourth. Okay. Ready? Here's 4 tips on how to not be you anymore, Janelle. Which I still think is worth exploring, but we're going to run out of time. So, number 1, when you meet somebody new, or you are going to meet an old friend, as you're walking past people in the mall, going to Blockbuster to rent a VHS tape, right? Because it's 30 years ago. Wherever you happen to find yourself. I was doing this in the airport the other day. I was walking down and I was looking at strangers. Not in a creepy way, but in my mind, I was thinking, I love this person. I love this person. I love this guy. Complete and total strangers flying by me on their way to wherever they are going across the world. And what I was practicing was seeing people and saying to myself, letting it pulse through my body, I love that guy. I love her. An old woman on a walker. I love that person. A young mom with a stroller and a kid with snot. I love that person. And it was a routine practice. And when I do that in an airport, I just walk through the whole airport with my shoulders down. Right? It's a way of of entering into a space instead of trying to not be present in it. And by the way, it's exhausting for me. When I got to the other end of the airport, when I got to my gate, I was wore out. But here's what I was having to do. I was teaching my body to see each individual person, not just a blur of activity. But it does bring your whole body whoosh down. So I'm headed to my boss's office. I love this guy. Even if you're like, this is going to be a fight. I love this guy. I love this woman. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, I'm going to get lit up like a Christmas tree for this one. But it works. You ever seen Care Bears?
Yes.
Back in the day, you remember when they like their thing from their chest and they like shot love at people or whatever?
Yes.
I want you to sit across the table when you're having coffee with a new person and imagine that your hearts are connected across the table in that way. And I understand you're going, I can't believe I called this idiot. This guy is such a moron. It's an old counseling technique that I learned on how to stay present with somebody when they're really hard to stay present with, or if you're like me and you're easily distracted. By imagining our hearts are tethered right now across the room or across the table. It forces me to stay present with you and to energetically stay in this conversation. And it's not romantic, it's not sexual in any shape, form, or fashion. It's just connective tissue.
Right.
Whenever I'm sitting down to talk to somebody who's about to lose a loved one, it's just a practice that I have. And it just makes me go whoosh. It drops my shoulders and I stay connected to somebody. Even if I'm, in my old days and I was having to fire somebody, it lets me stay plugged in. Okay. Number 3, I want you to have a person in mind that you want to act like being, and I want you to go act like that person.
Okay.
If there is, where this can bury you is if you don't have a model for what you're trying to look like. If people have just told you, man, I really thought you didn't like me. Well, that finish line will always move. You'll never be likable enough because you don't know what you're aiming at. You're just aiming at not being you. So have a woman at work that you think just does all this great, that everyone walks away and they're like, man, she did. And I want you just to pretend you're her. Not like really her, but like.
Right. Not weird.
But watch your actions.
Okay.
And you might want to throw up in your mouth. Oh my gosh, that laugh isn't real. That's not real. Oh my gosh, did she just touch that woman on the elbow? Like, oh geez, I'm not doing that. She hugged that person. Watch and see what are the things that are actually happening that make that connective tissue possible. And then you be really cognizant in your body. When she touches somebody's elbow and you want to vomit, ask yourself, like, ooh, why is that setting off my body's protection system? Right? And that's where the magic is. James Clear says you have to make these, you have to lower the friction. What are some tiny little steps I can do that are repeatable? Okay, if it is just inch closer, cool. If it is just to whisper to myself, I love this person. I love this person. And use their name if you can. Great. If it is, I'm going to lean across the table and pretend that my heart is shooting a laser into their heart and they're connected, like Ghostbusters. Cool. I'm going to do these small little things. Oh, it's touching the center of the table. It's smiling with my eyes and not my mouth, right? Little tiny things, but I want you to be observant and then really be honest about what are the things that I want to do specifically, not just this essence of, right? And here's the last one. After you meet somebody, go back to your desk and write them a quick thank you note, not an email, and send it to them. It was awesome having coffee with you. It's awesome meeting you today. You made my whole day better. You were my favorite person I talked to today, and I've got my kids. Right? Whatever it is. But it's going to cause you to go back and to reflect on that person, find a thing that you enjoyed, and it's going to center itself in you. It's not just going to be your body's not going to go, I survived an interaction, and then swipe it off the table. Because I think that's what your body does, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I survived. I didn't say anything stupid. Let me do the replay, which is anxiety. Let me do the replay. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go through it. If I did say something stupid, now I got to ruminate on it for the next 3 weeks because I said something stupid. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. And then we're going to gear up just enough to survive the next encounter. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to be like Janet. Janet smiles a lot. She leans close. That's so weird, but okay. I'm going to think to myself, I love that guy. I'm going to connect our hearts with a Care Bear laser. And I'm going to write I'm going to write Steve a note and say, hey, man, it was great getting to meet with you. Thank you for your time. It's the best meeting I had all day. We're just going to, here's what we're going to do. We're going to practice. We're going to practice. We're going to practice. We're going to practice. We're going to practice those things. It's going to take a while. And then, because you're going to be new, cool, hip Janelle instead of old, fuddy-duddy Janelle, which I think old Janelle's probably great. Ask. All right, hey, we've known each other for a month. When you first met me, did you think I didn't like you? Just ask. That's a funny way to put on the table to be like, yeah, actually, I thought you're kind of mad at me. Or they might say, no. And then you know, yes, my practice is working. I'm the Kobe Bryant of changing my facial expressions. The GOAT, as the kids say. Good call, Janelle. You're awesome. I'm really grateful to have gotten to talk to you. Try those things. Let me know if they work in a few weeks, and hopefully you're meeting people, and they're all going home to their friends and family. I met Janelle, and she's so lovely and delightful and wonderful. I wish people would say that about me, Kelly.